Normally, when I've been making my videos recently, I've been trying to do some funny intros for you guys to help catch your attention and overall make you guys want to keep watching the video. But I've decided that today I'm going to do a more serious intro. By the way, if you guys have any suggestions for fun intros in the future, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. I love new ideas and I love doing funny stuff. So, there's that as well. As some of you might know, if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or just watch my Twitch live streams, you guys would know that I've been participating in this charity tournament on TCG called the # Closer to Home charity tournament hosted by Gofundme. All these other streamers, by the way, I'll put their names over here, are also a part of it, so go drop them a follow. They're a group of amazing dudes that I was super happy to work with for this event, and I just wanted to kind of give you guys some information about the event that you might not already know. DJ Michael, who is a fellow TCGO streamer who, sadly, his house burnt down earlier in April, and he lost almost all of his earthly possessions. So we're trying to give back to this community that we love so much, and bring about all of our communities to try and work towards helping him out in any way that we can. I'm gonna go ahead and leave his GoFundMe link up here as well as in the description below. So if you guys haven't checked out his GoFundMe page, go do it right now and see if you have anything to give. Nothing is too small. Nothing is not enough. Hopefully the link still works, because by the time that you guys are watching this video, the semifinals had just ended, and hopefully by the time that this video goes live on Wednesday, the tournament would have already been over. But if you guys want to go watch the VODs and use the links, I'm pretty sure all that still works and will be up, so feel free to go watch that. I won my semifinal match, and I'm in the finals, which will be happening on Tuesday, which was yesterday for you guys, but tomorrow for me. Isn't that funny? So hey, I'll tell you what, here's something I'll do. If I won my final match, I'll pop a picture on screen right now. Pop, we're back. Okay, so either I won and you guys saw a cool picture, or nothing happened and I lost. So isn't that fun, huh? Editing, cool, right? But anywho, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's already been helping out. Big shout out to Gofundme and all these dudes once again, because this event could not have happened without all of you guys, and you're just amazing. And it was a pleasure to get to work on this project with you guys, and hopefully we can do more like this in the future and try and give back. Huge shout out to DJ Michael, who my heart goes out to you. Hopefully I get to talk to you soon and see how you're doing. If you ever need anything, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I'm a nice guy, generally, so I try to help out whenever I can. Huge shout out to all you guys watching, because you guys just watching me do this is what's giving me the opportunity to help someone out in need, and that's just an amazing, beautiful thing. So, yes, that time over. Thank you to everyone that's been supporting me and supporting DJ Michael Who and supporting, just supporting all this in general. You guys are making dreams come true today, so big thank you. All right, sappiness over. I'm sorry, I already said that, but we're doing it again. With all that being said, let's go ahead and hop into my top 10 decks for the Madison Regional Championships. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy TrueChampionSteven back here again with another Pokemon video for you guys. And today we're going over my top 10 decks for the Madison Regional Championships. Before we do, let me do a quick little announcement. We reached 200 subscribers on YouTube. Yay us. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It really does mean the world to me. And I figured I'd bring this video to you guys because I know the Madison Regional Championships are happening this weekend, and it's a big deal for a lot of people. I myself, again, am not attending these regional championships, so I'm making this video because I feel no reason to not tell you guys my honest opinion on all the decks moving forward. So I'm going to do my top 10 decks as well as some honorable mentions for the tournament, and I'm going to provide deck lists for every deck that I talk about, and I'll give you guys the matchup spread, why I think they're good, why their placement is their placement, and we can get a good discussion going on. If you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. The last video that I did for the top 10 decks is literally my most popular video ever, so I'm super excited to make another one. Maybe we can make this a regular series every time there's a big tournament. That sounds super awesome. If you guys enjoy what I say here, please don't be afraid to tell me in the comment section below. If you guys don't like what I say, feel free to tell me in the comment section below. I love engaging in banter and discussion about Pokemon TCG or just TCG in general. And yeah, I'm really excited to get started with this video. It was really fun and actually kind of hard to make because there's a lot of good decks in this format right now that I'm really excited to talk about. And some of my opinions have changed since the top 10 for Santa Clara, so that's going to be super exciting to see why. But anyway, guys, with all that being said, let's go ahead and hop into PTCGO right now. All right, everyone, here we are in PTCGO. I have my decks in front of you guys right now. We have numbers 1 through 10. 10's up here for some reason. I don't know why it's like this, but it is. Don't worry, I know the order, so don't worry too much about it. We're going to go from 10 to 1, but first I have one honorable mention to show you guys, and let's talk about it right now. It's Ninja Control / Ninja Mill, whatever you want to call it, the DDG deck from Santa Clara. It was piloted by other people, not just DDG. This is a known deck going into the tournament. I want a lot of people to, I want them to be totally clear. DDG did not create this deck archetype. They kind of just like made their own list for it, so that's what they did. They did not make the archetype. The archetype was already existed. It's been around since the EUIC, I'm pretty sure, when Pedro Eugenio Torres piloted it. I think to a top 16 finish. I don't remember what he actually placed at, but that's what he was the original person that built this Exodia / like infinite mill deck. That's what he called it. But anywho, here's the deck list that Azul Garcia Griego recently used to win a League Cup. This was the list that he updated from their Madison list. I think the only change that he made was he cut a Pokegear for a Chip Ice Axe, and he cut an Ingo and Emmett for a Tate and Liza, I think. I could be wrong. I haven't seen their other lists. I just saw this one. Personally, I don't like this deck. However, the reason why I'm mentioning it to you guys is that it is kind of a tough deck to beat if you don't know that it exists. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know this deck exists. It's annoying. The way that it wins is at some point it sets up an infinite combo where it can loop Shedinja plus Oranguru every single turn, and if you can't Guzma around the Oranguru or Field Blow away the Shedinja, you will never take prize cards, and eventually you will deck out because they have infinite resources with moves like Resource Management and, of course, Brock's Grit. So they will deck you out, and they have ways to kind of accelerate the deck out too, whether it's Make 'em Pay Persian, Chip Ice Axe, so that way they can Trumbeak away your counters to them, or just the Mars loop, so that way they can go Surge, Mars, Brock's Grit every single turn. And until you just run out of the cards in hand and in deck, and your shuffle draw runs out, and then you deck out a lot faster. This deck, by no means, is actually Exodia. It's not an undefeatable deck. If you just play 3 Guzma, a Pal Pad, and a Field Blower, that's all 6 prize cards you need to take. If you just kill Zebstrikers early on, they can't accelerate fast enough, and they can't shut up Shedinjas fast enough, you can just take prize cards naturally before they get Shedinjas shut up. Then you don't even need to take 6, but towards the end of the game, the deck is beatable. It's just scary if you don't know what to do against it. So my recommendation is make sure you play your Guzmas, make sure you play Field Blower, and don't worry about it too much. I also don't think that this deck will be piloted by a lot of people, too. That's also why it's not on the list. You know, if you guys remember from my first video where we did top 10, the 2 main priorities that I graded these decks on was popularity and just overall power. This deck is very powerful, but I don't think more than like 3 or 4 people are going to want to put themselves through playing this deck. So at that point, why even try and hard counter it when you can just play cards that are also good in other matchups that also counter it, like Field Blower or Guzma or even a Pal Pad every now and then. Or even an Oranguru, because you can just Oranguru back in your Guzmas and your Field Blower once you already play them, and then take more prize cards naturally that way. So don't worry too much about Shedinja control. Just keep it in the back of your head, and know that if you do ever play against it, now you know what to do. Kill their Zebstrikers, kill their Nikatas early if you can, and then eventually Guzma around their infinite loop combo, or just Field Blow away some Shedinjas, or even Faba away Shedinjas for cards like Stall. I have no idea how this deck beats Stall, by the way. I don't see it ever winning because they have Girafarig, so they can just Girafarig away your Shedinjas and then take knockouts with Lucario Metal. So I do not see how they win. But, you know, that's me. I'm a crazy person for thinking that this deck can't beat Stall for some reason. But anywho, guys, that's the deck. I know they have Make 'em Pay Persian, but, like, that's not enough most of the time. But anywho, yeah, that's the honorable mention. This is the only one. This top 10 is a lot more tight than the last one because the meta is a lot more defined than Santa Clara was. So you guys are going to see a lot of that moving forward. I have a lot more stronger opinions about decks now, but I also still think most decks that are good are still good. So that's really awesome. Moving on to deck number 10. Alright guys, here we are in deck number 10. We've got Umbreon Hoopa. This is kind of a personal opinion, and that's really the only reason why it's on the list. This deck is not popular. I think it's super powerful. I don't know why people aren't playing it, but Umbreon Hoopa is honestly one of my favorite decks right now. I think Quad Hoopa is honestly so strong right now because so much basic tag teams in this format right now. It's insane that you can just abuse people. And people are always like, Steven, this deck loses to Zoroark because they play Muck. I'm like, bruh, if they ever bring Muck out against you, you just Guzma, kill it with Retaliate, and then you have your Hoopas to run all house. It's amazing. What are you talking about? Your Zoroark matchup is so good. Like, it's insane. You can even play a one of Kukui, and then towards the end of the game, Spiritomb can one-shot a Zoroark. That's insane. Playing a one of Kukui and a one of Pal Pad, I've honestly considered it in this list. The only difference in this list from the one that I showed you guys last time we made this video was that I added a Field Blower, but you guys can totally, like, cut the counter catchers or cut the choice bands and add, like, a Kukui. But I'd rather like the choice bands. You can cut, like, an Erika's and a Lily, or like an Erika and a Pokegear, and totally play like 2 Kukui, or even 1. Like you can cut an Erika and a Pokegear and add a Pal Pad, and then boom, Kukui for days, man. Oh, Kukui is so strong. I think, in this format right now, but that's just me. But anyway, this deck is really strong. It's non-GX, it hits hard, it has Hoopa, and it actually has a big non-GX Pokemon that can take knockouts. Also, it has an unwinnable, like you play 4 stadiums and Field Blower, you can easily win any stadium where you are in, and then just stick your Black Market Prism Star against against any matchup, and then you just win the game, because now you're the Shedinja control deck. You know, they can't take prize cards anymore, but you're actually doing damage, so you can win the game super easily. You have 9 Dark, you got 4 basic energy. Yeah, your stall matchup kind of sucks, but you have Spiritomb, and you can do decent damage against everything in that deck, so it's pretty nice. You can always tech in like a 1 of Ditto and a 1 of Persian, make him pay, and then boom, there you go. You kind of fix your stall matchup that way. Or you can even play a 1 of Oranguru. This deck has a lot of tech ability, and I definitely think that if you are confident in your list and you can actually add some things to it to help unfavorable matchups, this is a really good call for Madison Regionals. It's also a rogue deck that no one knows realistically what it does, and it's really dope. So I definitely highly recommend this deck. That's why it's here in number 10. Also, I just think it's so powerful, and if someone does play it, you should kind of see it coming or understand what to do against it. So that's why I'm giving you guys my list. This list is kind of basic. It's not really anything too checked out. My 2 biggest wants in this deck are probably Persian, make him pay, or Oranguru, or even Kukui. So those are my big 3. Find spots for them. There's tons of room in the deck. I just wanted to show you guys the base list so you guys understand kind of what the deck looks like and what it wants to do. It kind of just like does damage and is non-GX, and it's awesome. So yeah, you guys are going to see a lot of non-GX decks on this list because, well, Charizard won Santa Clara, and that's going to be the most popular deck, but I'm going to show you guys the decks that beat that one. Moving on to deck number 9. Alright guys, here's my number 9 deck for the Madison Regional Championships. It is Blacephalon GX, not Baby. I think Baby Blacephalon is officially proven itself to be the worst deck coming out of Unbroken Bonds that people thought was going to be good. Because everyone's just playing Field Blower now, the deck is inherently inconsistent, there's still Marshadows everywhere in the format, so the deck just gets clunky and doesn't perform as well as it wants to. I will say really quick though that Blacephalon Baby has actually a really good Zapdos matchup, so if you like expect to play against like only Zapdos, then sure, go ahead and play Blacephalon. Otherwise, I think you lose to everything else. However, I think Blacephalon GX is in a very good place in the format because it's very good against Charizard, it's very good against other niche things, like I don't think it beats Zoroark anymore, but I think, or Zapdos, but I think it does beat Pikarom, and I think it also beats like little niche things. Like I think it beats a deck later on that you will see, which is basically non-GX, because you actually have a really good non-GX Psychic Attacker, which is actually really good for a deck later on that I'll talk about. It has a lot of stage 2s in it, and one of them being weak to Psychic, hintity hint hint. Also, Muck is just busted and really nice and helpful against decks like Zapdos, for example. You also have the one of Volcanion now, so that way you can actually hit Zapdos for a non-GX with a non-GX, so every now and then you can kind of fight back a little bit. Plus, Flare Star is really nice. Welder is broken in the deck because it just makes Blacephalon GX so much scarier on non-Beast Ring turns. Beast Ring is just broken. Like turns where you go triple Beast Ring, it feels like you're just never going to lose. And then let me think, what else is in the format right now that we're going to talk about later? Stall. I think you have a really good stall matchup moving forward. My biggest issue though is that I think everything that kind of beats Charizard kind of beats you too. I don't like Weezing to an extent. I don't like Malamar. To another extent, I don't like Zoroark. To another even greater extent, I don't. I'm saying the word extent a lot. I think I already said I still don't like Zapdos, but the stage 2 like Nidoqueen deck, that's the deck I'm talking about, by the way, guys. We're gonna talk about that deck later. Is the one I'm talking about when it comes to just like, because like they have Swampert and they have like non-GX attackers, so like who cares about your Naganadel to a certain point, but you know, it's whatever. So if you're confident in Blacephalon, you know what you're doing, then by all means go ahead and play. I think it's actually still really powerful, if not even more powerful in terms of like what it can do, but in terms of like how it matches up to the format, I think this is not its time. Maybe its time will come later. If you have a League Cup coming up, then you want to play this deck, by all means go right ahead, but otherwise I wouldn't play it. Deck's really good though. Moving on to deck number 8. So when I said I'd show you guys lists, I didn't say I'd show you guys lists that I actually have on here. I'm only missing the Zeraora and the Pikarom, but you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it too much. But here we go, Pikarom. Yeah, I know, Pikarom's really low on the list, because in the last video, a lot of you guys pointed out to me that when I jumbled up Zapdos and Pikarom as the same deck, y'all didn't like that too much. But I did say Zapdos and Pikarom were technically my number 2 pick for the top 10 for Santa Clara, and I was pretty okay about that. Zapdos, however, did perform a lot better than Pikarom, and I actually think Pikarom is actually very, 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 very bad in this format right now. And the only reason why it's on here is because I know people are still going to play it. There's people love their Pikarom. They think that it's still just the best deck in the format. And it's really powerful, but its Reshizard matchup is just so bad. And there's so many decks that just like beat it because they can beat it now, like Weezing or even Stall. Like Stall still beats this deck, I think. And that's really awesome. And another reason why it's on here is that I want to show off this full art Volkner that I got for getting 2,000 points on PTCGO ladder, because, you know, weird flex, but here we are. But anywho, here's the list. Pikarom is still Pikarom. It does really well against Zoroark Persian, however, and that's a really good thing it's got going for it, because like I said earlier, Zoroark Persian is going to be really popular, and I think really good for Madison. Hintity hint, it's pretty high on the list, so, you know, there's that. And it's really good against Zoroark. So I do like that. I do like it for that reason. However, again, Reshizard, bad. Stall, not so great. Zapdos, arguably even, but if it's Zap Buzz, I gotta give it to Zap Buzz. But if there's Zap Beast, you can beat it probably. And then everything else on the list, I haven't tested too much of Pikarom personally, obviously because I can't play it that much. But from what I can tell from the other decks that I played on here against Pikarom, I tend to beat them all. But that's just because Pikarom is so easy to beat. You know, it's so linear, man. I like, if you want like an easy day 2 and you want to like just secure your like points or something, don't play Pikarom, man. Everyone's gonna be able to beat you because they know what you're doing. But it's gonna be popular no matter what I say, so that's why it's on here. Definitely be on the lookout for Pikarom. Definitely know what you should do against it. If you don't already know, look up a video probably called How to Beat Pikarom, and I'm sure you could find a way to beat one. But anywho, moving on to deck number 7. Alright guys, here we are, the queen of the rogue decks. That's right, I made a pun. Here we go. Nidoqueen, Meganium, Swampert stuff. So this deck, I found out about this deck 2-3 days ago, and I kind of love it, I kind of hate it, and I kind of love it. So Nidoqueen, Meganium, Swampert here. This list isn't the one that I had built previously. This is the list that Benji Fam used, I think, to get top 8 at a League Cup. But I think it's very similar to the one that got 3rd place at the Singapore special event. I don't have that list. If you guys do have it, feel free to link it in the description below, so that way I can like heart that comment and people can find that list too. I just couldn't find it for the life of me in the time to make this video, but this is the list I was able to find. It was very similar to the one that I was playing previously. I think this one's better than the one that I was playing, but I think it still has some holes in it. Like I don't know realistically why the Oranger was in here. I think it's so you can get cards like your triple colorless back, and that way you can keep attacking with Nidoqueen, which that makes sense. But otherwise, I don't think it's in here to counter Stall, because I don't think you lose to Stall. I also think that it's kind of just like in here. I like that it's a fire energy though, because you can use it whenever your opponent has Heat Factory in play, and that's kind of cool. You get like a free 3 cards. So yeah, the basic idea of this deck is to use Queen's Call. So first you set up one Meganium, and then by using Meganium in combination with Queen's Call, you set up the rest of your board with all these stage 2 monsters. You use cards like Swampert and Super Boost to kill Reshizards, and then you use Nidoqueen to kill everything else, because Power Lariat does 50 damage for each evolution Pokemon on your bench. You have a full bench of evolutions, that's 210 damage. You guys see where this is going. This big 160 HP stage 2 not GX Pokemon is honestly insane. This deck is the definition of, I'm just going to be a big tanky boy and eventually you're going to die. You have the Shrine of Punishment in here to help, you know, get a little bit more chip damage on the stuff that has more than 210 HP. And then you have greens as well as Pokemon with abilities. And you're like, why? Because you use your greens in the first like 3 turns of the game to set up your Meganium. And then once you get your Swamperts out, you just use Swampert to discard the greens and draw 3 cards. It's very similar to how you used to play 4 Bridget in Zoroark decks. So that's really cool. You use this to set up your board, and then you just get rid of it later, and then you're good to go. You play 4 Nest Ball, 3 Great Ball, and 2 Ultra Ball. Just got to get all that Pokemon that you can, but you don't want to discard too many cards. You have 4 Pokegear, 4 Rare Candy, and you have just some other consistency cards. And the one Pal Pad I really love. And this Pal Pad's in the deck. Pal Pad is one of my favorite decks right now in any deck that I'm playing. I'm trying to fit it in as many decks as I can, because the versatility of supporters is just so impressive to me, and I love it so very much. But anyway, guys, here's the list. The deck has very, very, very good Reshizard matchup, even though it kind of doesn't look like that. It looks like it's really slow, right? But you can like kill a Reshizard with a Nidoqueen like no one's business, especially if you can get the Shrine to stick for like 2 turns. It's really simple. And then Swampert can just come in and whop one in the face, and then you're good to go. You have a really good Zoroark. Even though they do resist you, you can still get that extra chip damage with Shrine of Punishments. So maybe bumping the Shrine to 2 or even 3, honestly, is probably a good idea moving forward. Maybe taking in cards like a 1/1 Greninja GX line to get that extra 30 damage snipe could be a thing that you do in the future. So many options for a deck like this that's honestly just insane. And then, let's see, what else? What other matchup that I wanted to bring up? Oh, hang on. Solar Beam. You can use Solar Beam for the grass attack and kill. Well, you can't kill anything that's water weak. But what was I going to say? Anyway, I didn't want to bring that up, but you could use Solar Beam, I guess. But that was a really good one that I wanted to bring up. Oh yes, against Blacephalon GX, you do really good. And Blacephalon GX, the deck is seeing a lot more play right now, so I'm really liking Nidoqueen for that reason. And then it's just really consistent. And being a non-GX with this much HP that can just like swing and do a whole bunch of damage is really, really good. I definitely recommend testing this deck, or at least keeping it in mind as very good. The best way to beat this deck, obviously, is Stage 2. Hope they can't set up. But with the maxed out of Green and Lily and 4 Pokegear, it's kind of hard to make this deck like lose. Like, there was a similar version of this deck, I think, when Nidoqueen first came out during Team Up, but it was just so slow and it just had no consistency. With a card like Pokegear, the deck is seeing so much more like consistency that I actually think it's actually consistent enough to the point where it can perform where it needs to perform. The list that I have here, I think, has some holes and can be improved upon later, but I haven't tested the deck enough to understand whether or not I need certain cards or whether or not I don't need certain cards. So maybe you guys can do that testing and let me know, but I definitely like this deck moving forward, and that's why it's on the list at number 7, and I think it's popping up on a lot more people's radar, so I think it actually might see some play and some popularity. So it has the power and it has the popularity. If it has the popularity, I think it'll perform very well at Madison Regionals, which is why it's on the list. Really quick, I just wanted to mention that all the decks on this list, while they are ranked from number 1 to 10, I don't really think they're necessarily better than the other one. I think if you play any of the decks that I mentioned here today, and you're confident in your list, and you're confident in the way that you play the deck in certain matchups, I think you'll perform as well as you want to, or even better to the point, because the decks are powerful enough to be on the list, but also popular enough to be like, well, they'll be very representative of what the meta might be as a whole, too. So the real reason I'm making this list is more for your awareness, not necessarily so you guys can hear my opinion and make me, and like help you guys pick your deck. It's more like I'm gonna help assure you that the deck you're choosing is a good one. So I'm sorry if I make anyone upset by like insulting a deck every now and then. Every deck on here that's on this list I do believe to be is playable and is very good for the actual tournament. Do not think that by me just kind of bagging on it every now and then that I don't think it's actually good. It's clearly good. Otherwise it wouldn't be on the list. Make sense? All right, deck number 6. Let's go. This deck is Granbull. Granbull was actually an honorable mention in the last video, but I actually think it's a lot better now because, as I've been saying this whole entire video, is non-GX is the way to go. And Granbull is quite personally my favorite non-GX deck right now because, well, that's actually not true. That's a lie. It's one of my favorites. It's definitely not the coolest one either. It's really good. I like Granbull a lot, but this specific build of Granbull is super cool, and the only reason why it's not higher, like I would put this deck at number 2 to be honest, but it's such a top decky / I need to get my stuff every single turn that I'm not so confident in its consistency. But I'm confident in its power, and I'm definitely confident in its matchup spread. Like Reshizard's really good. You're really good against stuff that beats Reshizard, like Blacephalon or even all the water stuff. Zoroark is 50-50, depending on how they built their list. Like, if they have a lot of ways to KO Granbulls, like, say, Persians, or just, like, a heavy Persian line, and, like, Kokui / Koga / Devour Field, and they can, like, get good damage against you. I know you resist the Dark still, but with, like, all those things added together, they can take a knockout, like, at least twice, and then having Persian attack 4 times, they can take a knockout, and they can kill a Oranguru, so that's 6 prize cards, so you do have to watch out for that kind of stuff, which is why I'm opting for 2 Dunbells in the list. Also, Pikarom is still a deck, and that matchup does kind of suck, so the one of Fairy Charm is pretty useful. Plus, having Tools is actually really good, because Tools are cards that you can play from your hand that aren't dead. If you don't want to play the Fairy Charm, definitely go for the second choice band. Really good, actually. 4 reds is kind of a thing you want. I've been considering cutting a 4th Apricorn Maker for 4th reds, but I'm really prioritizing setup versus, late game consistency, because once this deck gets set up, it kind of does, like, work itself. For sure. Counter Catcher's broken. Switch. Play 3 Switch if you can find the room for it. If you're like better than me and don't want to play like, I don't know, 8 energy and you want to play 7, definitely go for that 3rd Switch, man. You need as many switches as possible because they will Lysander your Oranguru or Gust up your Oranguru and just stall you out, and it's not fun. But yeah, I really like Granbull. One of my favorite non-GX decks right now, and I think if you play it and you're confident in your work and you want to work hard for your W's, this is one of the decks that you should play for freaking sure. There's also another version of the deck that plays like Macargo, and you play Oranguru. The only problem with that is that I don't like having another thing to set up on top of having to get as many snubbles as possible. That's like super simple. Snubble, Gramble, Oranguru, Snubble, Gramble, every single turn. Eventually, you are going to win the game. Playing the Stealth Hood to get around Muck is honestly the most broken tech in the world, because against Zoroark, you don't really need that much, because you're never going to one-shot them anyway, unless Trying to Punishment just like sticks forever and ever and ever, which sometimes it won't, because they play Stadiums and they play Field Blower counts, and sometimes they play Marshadow. So, you know, but I like the Stealth Hood nonetheless, so you can get around Muck and use Oranguru still, which is just awesome. This deck is super cool. If you're confident in it, like I already said, definitely give it a shot, definitely test it, and be on the lookout for it, because it might show up, and you should know how to beat this deck. Best way to beat this deck, in my opinion, is to just chase the Orangurus, or if they ever don't get another Snubble in play, kill it as fast as possible, and then you're good to go. So yeah, moving on to deck number 5. All right, yeah, we're moving on to deck number 5 right now. These decks, well, again, I did not say that these lists are prioritized by, you know, how good I think they're gonna do, but they are prioritized mainly in popularity and, again, how powerful they just are. But a deck being more powerful doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. It just means that it can do more things, or it can do more powerful things. This next deck that I'm going to show you guys, every deck that I'm going to show you guys from here on out, from 5 to 1, are pretty much going to be the most popular decks. The decks that might just end up performing the best because so many people are going to play them. Now, does that mean that you should play them too? Not necessarily. It means you should be really prepared for fighting these decks, because you're definitely going to run into at least 1 or 2 of them. The other ones, you might not play against them at all, but this one, or the ones coming up, you definitely will. So pay attention to these ones. Deck number 5 is Zapdos, Buzzwole, or Zapdos Beasts. I do believe that Zapdos Beasts and Zap Buzz do perform the same in the meta. So I'm lumping them both up in as a number 5 slot here. If you guys disagree with doing that, let me know in the comments. I'll gladly share with you guys my Zap Beast lists in the comments if you guys are really upset with me for not showing you guys that list. But this one I do think is better. I think it's more consistent. I don't think the Machamp belongs in here, but people are going to play the Machamp, so I'm going to show you guys the Machamp version, but you take this out. I don't think it's good. I think it's easy to play around, and I also think that it doesn't do as much as you want it to, but it was in there, so you guys might want to pay attention to it, because other people might play it. I wouldn't, but other people might. So I don't know what you would cut it for. Maybe, honestly, second Mew is pretty busted. Not gonna lie, Mew is pretty busted in this deck. So I'm just putting that out there right now. Maybe a second Stealth Hood, because Vileplume's gonna be around, and you want to try and counter that. I don't know. Up to you to do what you want, but this deck is really good. Zapdos is still super strong in the meta right now. The inherent aggression and speed that this deck has is incredible. Having the Buzzwole and the actual fighting energies means that your matchup against Muck and Zoroark in particular are just super good. Like, honestly, insane. Having the Stealth Hood go on Jirachi so that we can still use Stellar Wish is pretty broken too. Viridian helps you thin your deck and get the energies you need turn by turn. An attachment every single turn in this deck means that swing around happens a lot more than you think. And swing around versus any Zoroark deck is game changer. Not just Sledgehammer, but swing around is super busted. Coco is broken, and I think the deck actually has a really good Reshizard matchup, which is looking to be the most popular deck for this tournament, but will be the most well-performing. Maybe not. If you guys want a consistent deck that will get you to day 2, Zap Beast, or Zap Buzzwole in this example, really good, especially if you're confident in your playstyle and you know how to win those matchups. Like, you play 8 switching cards, like, it's just the freaking best. 4 switch and 2 escape rope is definitely a choosable thing. I, for one, like the 3-3 split still. I think this is exactly Michael Catron's list, but again, I would kind of cut the Machamp. Otherwise, I think the deck is perfect. I think it's really good. 6 energy might not be too bad either, just to point out there. But yeah, I really like this deck. Play it. It's broken. Moving on to deck number 4. I know people are going to get mad at me because I put Stall at number 1 last time, and I was right that it was going to do so well, because Stall performed even better than I thought it would. It didn't win. It got top 8 though. But it was such a really high represented deck in day 2. I think it was the most that Stall's ever been represented in an American tournament was Santa Clara, which is just insane to me. But I know a lot of NorCal players love their Stall, so that's probably why. And I did say it was number 1, and I was kind of right, which I'm really happy about. Shameless plug. However, I was wrong about the version. The version that did really well was Vileplume, but I think the better one moving forward, especially for Madison, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with me on this, is the Hoopa, like Mount Cornet, like the one that Peter Kika played. This is his list, but I think I changed a couple cards. Yeah, I think I ran a second Bill No, I think I ran one less bill, and I think I added Coronet and a Metal Energy. I forget the other cut I made. I think it was a Frying Pan. The reason why I like having Mount Coronet and Double Metal is because it helps in the mirror match for stall, because then they have to start chasing your metals, and you can keep your metals alive every single turn by constantly adding them back to your hand with Coronet, while still discarding them for cards like Plumeria or cards like, I don't know. Where's another discarding card? I forget what one is. Or if it gets discarded off of Mars. I really like the Mount Coronet, plus it's another stadium card that you can loop over and over and over again. I also think Mount Lanakila and Power Plant aren't needed. I mean, because like Zoroark you don't care about, so why stop their abilities? Lele's, who cares? There's no abilities in Reshizard that matter. There's no abilities besides Zero Aura, I guess, that matters, and I think you beat Pikarom anyway. So I don't see why he played Power Plant and Lanakila, but I could be wrong, and you guys can tell me that later on. But I think Mount Coronet's the best way to go. Plus the like just the synergy of going, okay, Steel Fist a couple of turns, and then Acerola 2 metals into your hand, and then play your Mount Coronet eventually, and then Infinite Plumeria loop every single turn, seems kind of busted, and you don't actually lose cards, which means by Plumeriaing, you're not hurting your chances of going for the unknown hand. You gotta play Giraffe Rig because stall mirrors are gonna happen, so you want to win them. Also, Giraffe Rig's just broken against any deck that plays counters, like Shuffle Draw or Ninja Control, for example, where you can just shuffle away their Orangrus or their energy, or get rid of their Ninjas anyway forever, and then you just start swinging in with your Mema Lucario deck, and you win. So yeah, I really like this. The Lugia GX is the best counter to anything in the deck that can actually kill you. Like if they ever get like a lucky knockout on your Lucario Mema with a Reshizard, you just go, all right. Well, maybe not Reshizard's a good example of this. Maybe a better example would be a card like Make 'em Pay Persian, where you can just Lost Zone away the Ditto, or Lost Zone away whatever Meowth is in play, and then you can kind of like chase the Meowth. Also, this deck attacks more, which is also why I like it. I think an attacking version of Stall is really good, because then you can actually take prize cards and possibly win game 3s. Attacking with Lucario Memo is a viable option in this deck. You can totally do it, and it's honestly broken. I've been considering playing a third metal for that exact reason, but it's whatever. You even play this with Galio Prism Star to help accelerate some metal energies. He's really just in here for a non-GX metal Pokemon that can play Firing Pan and just like kind of take hits. But he's also a energy accelerator, so why not, right? And if he gets hit, you just Acerola him back up, attach the metal from hand, and boom, you're good to go. Or you can just like attach Double Colors, retreat him, Mount Coronet the metal back in, and then attack with Steel Fist. Boom, there you go. Little synergistic things you can do all the time. I think Stall is still really good. Like I said before, 4 Hoopa in any deck is good by me. Having Regigigas and Ancient Crystal is really good against Stall. And then, yeah, guys, not Stall, against Spread. And yeah, I really do like this deck still. I do think it requires a lot of testing and a lot of competence in your list to play this deck. It's not an unknown thing anymore. Everyone knows to play their stall counters and play the way to beat you, so be ready for that. Watch out for Persians, watch out for Orangarus, and try and get her done, as it were. I do think this deck is still really strong. I think if you know what you're doing, you can totally win. Lugia is a really good answer, by the way, to Orangaru, if I didn't say so already. Lugia is also really good against Muck for Zoroark, but Zoroark just loses to Lucario Metal. Let's be real, guys. Zoroark does not beat Lucario Metal ever. So that's a big deal. And yeah, guys, I really like this deck, and you should play it if you know what you're doing. And if you don't want to play it, definitely be ready to play against it, because it's not going to be fun for you to get caught off guard by a stall deck. And really quick, speaking of getting caught off guard, let me mention a little card that stall decks might be playing. I don't know why they play it now, but they could be playing a Durant, which has the ability to attack Mountain Munch, which does discard 2 cards from the top of your deck. So don't ever think that if you just have 2 cards through your deck, you have 2 free turns. I definitely recommend always having at least 3 cards in your deck against any stall variant, because they can always just whip out this card at any point in the game, and then you lose. So watch out for that. Also, it has a really good matchup against Zapdos, like infinite like auto win against Zapdos, in my opinion. So Zapdos, with all the popularity that I think it's going to have for Madison as well, will just make this deck perform even better. The only reason why, again, it's not higher on the list is because I know people know about it now, so it won't perform as well, and I have to reflect that in the list. This deck will not perform as well as it did at Santa Clara. However, it still will perform well enough, and it still is going to be popular enough / powerful enough, in my opinion, to warrant being this high on the list. So yeah, that's why it's on here at number 4. Moving on to deck number 3. All right, before it was on, I think it was number 4 on the last video that we did for this, and now it's number 3. It only got slightly higher because the list for greens is actually the best version of Reshizard. This is the list that I made for the Steven's Deck Tips episode 1. If you guys haven't checked that out already, go ahead and check it. The iCard above right here. It's a really, really good episode and a really good series that I'm doing here on the channel. I hope you guys like it. But this deck in particular is just super powerful, you guys. Reshazard. I'm sorry I didn't give Reshazard like enough credit in the last video that I did about this, but I kind of like admitted to myself, like, I know it's powerful, but like, come on, guys, it's freaking just too popular not to win, you know, or not to be there. So definitely be ready for Reshazard, and if you're playing Reshazard, be ready to play against stuff that's gonna try and beat you. So yeah, this is the best list I think of Reshazard right now. I think Palpad is better than playing a second Guzma. However, second Guzma is very appealing over the second switch. So that's like the only cut I've been considering. Other than that, though, every card in here I think is the number that it should be. I think one Kukui is enough to win the mirror match, because reasonably, you don't really need to one-shot a Reshazard twice. You only need to one-shot a Reshazard once, and then you can two-shot with attacks like, you know, High Heat Blast, or even Argent Wing into Flare Strike, and that's sometimes good enough. Or Argent Wing into Megaton Friends is enough, I think, to get your second knockout of the game. Which you should, in mirror match, you should just be shooting for killing Reshazard after Reshazard, you know, and the best play is like greens into Custom Catcher, Surge into greens into Custom Catcher into Kukui, boom, blow them up. That's the greatest play in the history of this deck. So yeah, I really like this deck. Definitely test it, definitely know how to beat it, and definitely be ready for when it inevitably wins again, because no matter how many people try and beat this deck, it just still seems to win. So yeah, again, possible techs can be Miltank, could be Mew, but I just think the straight up, the more consistent you go, the better. In a deck like this, especially with the greens one, your consistency really matters, and this deck doesn't draw a lot of cards, so a lot of the time your consistency is just bad. Also, this deck has a lot worse Zoroark matchups than people think, which is why you play 2 Power Plant in here, because you need a way to just slow down Zoroark from getting all the pieces that they need to beat you. And having Power Plant to shut off their Persians and shut off their trades is super important, because otherwise you're just going to die eventually. Also, they're starting to play Marowak now, so having EV Snorlax isn't just the freebie knockout that he is anymore. They have Marowak, and they can go Choice Band Kukui, and I think that's 120, so that's 240 damage, and some of them play Mew, so if they Mew 30 damage spread on your EV Snorlax, boom, Marowak, Kukui, Choice Band, they just knocked out your EV Snorlax, and all you did was take 2 prize cards, and they took 3. So definitely be on the lookout for Zoroark. It's not as good as people think. It's actually not that great. Speaking of Zoroark, it's time for deck number 2. Here we are, Zoroark Persian, my second favorite deck, moving into Madison Regional Championships. This list is my Steven's Deck Tips episode 2, where I talk about this list a lot. It's based off the Zoroark Persian list that Finnegan Lynch piloted to a top 16 finish at Santa Clara. Definitely check out that video up in the iCards above. But let me give you guys a brief rundown of what I think about this deck. I think it's broken. I think it has amazing, amazing answers to everything in the format. And I think if you know what you're doing and you have a good list, similar to the one that I have here, and you understand your matchups, and you understand what to do at what times, and you chase the right stuff, and you do damage where you need to do damage, I think you're going to do so well in the tournament. It's not even funny. I really love this deck. Zoroark is one of my favorite decks of all time when playing Pokemon TCG, and I think it's gonna perform so well this tournament. I think it's gonna be super popular. So definitely play your Marowaks, play your fighting counters, play your whatever you want to try and beat Zoroark. Play your Power Plants, and just have a blast. Speaking of Marowak, that's a really big deal that you can try and fit in here. I haven't found the space yet in my list to play Marowak, but Assault Boom, Choice Band Kukui, killing Pikarom, and killing every now and then a EV Snorlax is super huge. I think Pikarom is this deck's worst matchup, but because I believe Pikarom is going to be less important, I'm not valuing Marowak that much. However, it is very good in the mirror match as well. So if you want to justify your inclusion of Marowak as being, hey, it's a Pikarom counter, and it's a mirror counter, and every now and then it can kill EV Snorlax, then by all means, put it in your deck. Find the room for it. A 1/1 Cubone is not bad. I think the best Cubone's the one from... Cubones even exist, actually. I haven't looked at Cubones yet. Let's see. Oh, this one, yeah. 70 HP one. This is the one you play. Has an attack, too. Or do you play this one? No. Or this one? Actually, no. This one's better because you do 80 damage on other Zorwas. Yeah, play this one. Yeah, what's one from? Forbidden Light. Okay, yeah. Play this Cubone if you want to play Marowak. We'll only play one. I do recommend, though, that if you play Cubone Marowak, you shouldn't play Persian, and you should kind of switch over to a kind of Zoroark GX Stage 1 Triple Acceleration Energy box deck, similar to the one that DDG's been playing recently. The only reason why I don't like that deck is I value Persian so freaking much, man. Persian is just so broken. Having Persian make him pay and having Persian GX is just so freaking good. Slashback GX is really good against Blacephalon. Vengeance GX, the Vengeance attack is super strong, and I really like it moving forward. That's why this deck is my number 2. Alright guys, here we are, deck number 1. Personally, my favorite deck in the format right now. I love playing this deck so freaking much. I think it has so much room to grow and so much room to change, and if you have a good list and you know how to play it, this deck will win the tournament. I love its matchups. I love how consistent it actually is despite not having a draw engine, and I think it's super, super strong. Let's talk about Weezing, guys. I think Weezing is better than everyone thinks. I think everyone plays Weezing incorrectly, and I think there's so many avenues for tech ability that if you have a confident and good list, you can just tear up this tournament. This is my list that I'm running with right now. It's actually the list that I've been playing the entire time throughout the DJ Michael Who Charity Tournament. I'll probably put an intro describing what that tournament is at the beginning of this video, so that's really interesting, so you guys know what I'm talking about. But really quick, if I won that regional event, I promise you all I played was this deck, and if I did do that, I'm going to quickly pop a photo on screen right now. Whop. Whop, we're back. Okay, so hopefully you guys saw a thing pop up on the screen really quick. If you guys didn't, that means we didn't actually win, but we still got second place, so that's no big deal, right? But anyway, this deck is super crazy. I love everything. Persian Make 'em Pay is literally just such an MVP against Reshizard, against Stall, against Zoroark sometimes, because you can just get rid of their Acerolas and get rid of their Judges or get rid of anything you want. And it's so great, and no one ever sees it coming from this deck. Another great tech you can play is Honchkrow for Stall, because if they have like 2 or 3 Pokemon in play, you get like a little bit of extra damage every now and then. You can do huge damage against certain Pokemon. Plus, a Reshizard that has 150 HP. If you don't have any Pokemon in play, like say say all your counter energies are gone, and your Reshizard and your opponent's Reshizard is so not gonna die by anything else besides say a Frost Rotom, you can just bust out a Honchkrow on your Ditto and then blow him up. Or you can go Honchkrow, like Escape Rope or Switch, just do 150 damage on something whenever they retreat into a thing, and now 2 things have over like 120 damage, and then late game you have enough spread damage in play to just have matchup swap Lele. The way to think about Honchkrow is basically like Honchkrow doubles the amount of damage that's in play, and so if you can do that on a Pokemon that has actually a lot of HP remaining, the next turn you can just go magical swap, bada bing bada boom, probably take all the knockouts you need. So this deck is definitely a spread deck, and not enough people play it as a spread deck, and I do not know why. You have an insane Reshizard matchup. Your matchup against Zoroark isn't actually as bad as people think if you know what you're doing, because Larvitar is honestly just the most broken card in the history of the world. Your matchup against Blacephalon is really good. Your matchup against any kind of water counters is super good. Any non-GX deck like Zap Beast, you just auto-win because you're better than they are as a non-GX deck. This is my favorite non-GX deck right now, by the way, guys, if you couldn't tell. I love this deck so much. It's super consistent. And I personally play this Morty tech, and Morty is freaking disgusting, bro. Because so many people are greedy against the spread deck that they're like, I'm going to wait till the very last minute before I go for my Max Potion and my Acerola. So on turns when they take a knockout on like a Weezing, and I'm like sitting pretty with like all the energy I need in hand, I just go Morty. I look at their hand, they have like 2 Max Potions or an Acerola and a Max Potion in their hand, and now they have no draw supporters. I'm just going to go, okay, Morty, shuffle those 2 back in your deck, and now you're not going to have your way to heal, and now next turn I'm going to go for Magical Swap, and then you're going to lose. Morty is busted. Play a Morty, guys. I promise you you'll have value from it. I promise. But if you don't want to play Morty, go ahead and add that 4th Pokegear back in and make your deck uber consistent. As you guys can see, there's no Guzmas, there's no counter catchers, there's no nothing. You don't need counter catchers. I don't know why people think you need counter catchers or Guzmas. You just don't. You don't need to chase anything. Just have Weezing and spread a bunch of damage, and then eventually Lele will clean it up for you, or you'll just take knockouts naturally and win the game. I love this deck. I just love this deck so freaking much. And if someone has a busted list and they win Madison Regional Championships, I'm going to go on Twitter. I'm going to say, I called it, watch this video, and it's going to be awesome. Hey, future people watching this video, because I did that tweet. How you guys doing? If you guys play this deck, I will shout you out on Twitter if you shout me out on Twitter, because this deck is just so freaking dope, guys. Play this deck. It's busted. All right, don't sleep on Weezing. Definitely understand how to beat it. The best way to beat Weezing is to have evolutions, or don't bench Pokemon just cause, you know, be smart about how you bench Pokemon. That's another thing, really quick. No one knows how to play against spread. You know, what people generally do is that they either play no Pokemon, which is dumb, because I could be playing cards like Honchkrow or Frost Rotom or Mimikyu that can just knock out your dude. if enough damage on it, so that means you're just going to get benched out, or they don't bench the right number of Pokemon. So definitely make sure that you're benching your Pokemon sequentially, but not just not benching any, because that's not a way you win. Because I actually have Pokemon that can do more than 40 damage. I have Second Strike, I have Frost Crush, I have Copycat, and to an extent, I also have Psywave, which sometimes can do 80 to 100 damage, which is busted. The one thing that I don't like about this list is that I am cutting down on spell tags, and the reason for that is that Heal Blower's in every deck, pretty much, that I've shown you guys here tonight, so I don't like playing for spell tag because I don't really see that return on that investment of that card slot, so I'd rather play more consistency, or like a third shrine, or a fourth shrine, or just like a second switch, or a third energy. I think there's more room in the deck now than there was before, because before you devoted so many slots to spell tags and like adventure bags because you knew you got so much value out of them. But now I think there's less value in them, that you don't need to devote more slots to them, and your consistency is what truly matters. Plus text like make them pay Persian. Other than Honchkrow and make them pay Persian, you can play stuff like Shaman, like the counterattack Shaman, you know, for Raid Away or whatever it's called. I think it's Rally Back. You can play Victini, the counter energy one, so that we can do like 120 or 240 damage to a Lucario Melmetal, and then maybe win through shrine damage that way. You can just play so many things. You can play one of Hoopa and like retreat into the Hoopa and just kind of like sit there with like a shrine play and just win the game that way, or like counter GDC and then start attacking. Like, this deck is so crazy, guys. I love it so freaking much. You can play like a one of Buzzwole and like have Sledgehammer turns, because you're non-GX, so eventually they're gonna have 4 prize cards and then just do 120 damage on something rather than Second Strike. And that's really cool. Also, you have counter energy plus double colorless to do Sledgehammer, which is also really good. I personally like Larvitar more though, because it can be used against at any time in the game, and a lot of the time you close out games with Larvitar versus you close out games with Buzzwole. But definitely take it out if you want to. And then you play Marshadow, and Marshadow is busted. You also play Mr. Mime too, and Mr. Mime actually really helps against Stall because they can't Acerola, which means they only have 4 max potions, which means eventually you're going to be able to do damage to them. Obviously, they can run you out of energy and just like Faba loop you to death, which is no bueno. But again, I think Stall will be either performing less well, or not enough people are going to play it because they're not confident in their list or their ability to play. So with Stall kind of going away, Charizard being as popular as ever, Zapdos being more popular, and Zoroark being more popular, I think this is Weezing's time. This is probably Weezing's tournament to take down. Sorry for that cut, everyone. My computer kind of just like shut off for a second, then shut right back on. So hopefully, as I was saying, I think this tournament is Weezing's time, man. If you are confident in your list and you know your matchups, you can win with Weezing. Believe in yourself. The deck is good. Here's a list for you guys. If you guys like it, let me know. If you guys don't like it, then maybe we can talk and maybe help you guys make out your list. But yeah, this is my #1 pick for the Madison Regional Tournament. I cannot wait to see the results. This tournament is going to be insane. I have a lot of hopes for Weezing moving forward. Alright everyone, that wraps up the top 10 decks for the Madison Regional Championships. Best of luck to everyone who's attending. I hope this video helped you guys understand what to expect for your meta, or just help you figure out what you're going to play, or gave you an idea on what to play, maybe if you haven't considered a certain deck before. So please let me know what you guys are thinking about the list that I gave you guys today. I'll pop a list right here of all 10 decks in a nice, neat and orderly fashion, so that way you guys can go back and watch it in order, or figure out where a certain deck is in case you guys didn't know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I have a goal to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of my first year here on YouTube. So that's hopefully in October, I'm pretty sure. So let's see if we can make it happen. The True Squad is an amazing squad to be a part of, and I'm super happy. Also, if you guys did not enjoy the video, or you guys want to ask me any questions about or elaborate more on a specific deck, please do not be afraid to come into my Twitch channel. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday in the afternoon PST. And I would love to see you guys in there, and feel free to ask me anything. I love answering questions. I love talking about TCGs, and I could do it literally every single day for the rest of my life. So thank you guys so much. Huge shout out again to the #CloserForHome tournament. Hopefully we won again. If we did, whop back. Editing's fun. And you guys, I've been the TrueChampionSteven. As always remember, work hard, rest easy, and live well. And I will see you all next time. Peace out.